Hello! Welcome to this video where I want to show you how I made the headpiece and the armor for my She-Ra cosplay. These are the armor pieces, like this is for the leg, this is for the arm, and there's also this piece for the foot. And in this video I'm going to show you how I made them from start to finish. So if you're interested to see that, then be sure to keep watching this video. And of course, if you want to have the patterns to make this armor yourself, then you can download them from my website. I will link it in the description below. And there's also an ebook there with a lot of photos and details about how I made the whole costume. So please be sure to check that out. And then without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we start working, first drink some tea. Do you drink tea or coffee? I'm a tea addict. Then I'm going to draw a pattern for my first armor piece. In this case it is the arm armor. So I just draw it onto a piece of paper, sketch it, and then draw the details with a marker. So I can see it better, basically. Then I cut it out. And I do this with the other patterns as well. So for the leg armor and for the shoe armor. And I keep changing them until I like the shapes. But of course you don't have to do this work. You can just download the patterns that I made directly from my website. I will post a link below. This is where you can find it. But not only the patterns, you can also find an ebook where I write a lot about how I made the whole costume, with a lot of pictures and text info. Okay, so we finished the patterns, and if you download them you can just print them and cut them out, and they will look a lot nicer than these that I made. And then I put them on the foam. I'm using 5mm thick EVA foam. This foam is from Cosplay clues, but this shop doesn't exist anymore, but you can still get foam in many other shops. I try to link some down below where you can still buy foam now. And here are all the pieces that I need to cut out of the foam. A lot of them. I filled a whole mat of foam with armor pieces. Then I just use a normal craft knife like this, and I make sure that it's always sharp, and then I cut out the pieces for the armor. It's really important that the knife is sharp because you really want clean edges. The clean edges make it easier to glue the pieces together later. Because if the edges are not very clean, you will actually keep seeing this after you glued the pieces together. You won't get very clean seams like this. So as you can see right now, the edges are really straight and smooth. That's what we need. And for some other pieces I also carved out a little bit of details, like for example for the wings of the headpiece. For this I had to carve out little pieces of foam to give the illusion of it being actual wings with feathers. Already looks much better. And I also need to add a little piece. And now it's time to do some gluing. So on the edges that I want to glue together, I added a little bit of contact cement. Contact cement is really nice glue. You can see it here on the edge. You just have to put it on the edges that you want to glue together on both sides, and then leave it to dry for a couple of minutes until it's not wet anymore but tacky. Then, really carefully, glue the two pieces together. And really make sure that you glue them right there where you want them. Because once the glue is glued, you can't take the pieces off anymore. It's a really strong glue. So actually it's perfect for foam. So that was the arm armor piece. And I will do the same for the leg armor piece. And it's really important to glue it on the right spot, because if you don't, yeah, you have a lopsided item. It happens. It's okay. Just make it work. If it happens, just say it's battle damage. And of course, we're going to do this again on all the armor pieces. This is one of the shoe armor pieces. So this is the top piece of the two shoe armor pieces, because the shoe armor consists out of two pieces, one for the toes, that's this one, and the other one that goes above it. And here we're going to close it like with the others. And now it's time to actually shape the armor pieces. I'm using this boot as a base, and then I just check if the armor pieces fit, and then I heat them up a little bit so I can shape the foam. Because if you heat up foam, you can shape it a little bit, it gets a little bit more soft, and after it cools down again it will stay in that shape. But other than Warbler, it will still be flexible, so that's really the difference between the two. It will still be flexible, and it's also much lighter, of course. And now I just shape it over the shoe so it will really fit exactly how I want it. And then it needs to cool down in this shape. Then of course I also heat up the other piece, and when it's soft enough I curve it and shape it and put it on the shoe to cool down. To make sure that it stays in place while cooling down, I just use some elastics and put them around the armor pieces. And then I shape the armor a little bit more, and I also put a little bit of foam under the front so that we'll get a cute shape as well. And now it needs to cool down. Of course, I also want to shape the other armor pieces. So this is the arm armor again, and I just heat it up and then shape it around my actual arm, so it will fit just perfectly when it's done. And needless to say, I do the exact same thing for the leg armor pieces. So heat it up again, shape it, and then let it cool, so it holds its shape. Of course, at this stage the armor parts are still very boring, so I wanted to add some details. For this I cut some strips out of some craft foam. Craft foam is 2 mm thick and is perfect for details. So I just add some contact cement onto the foam armor piece and also on the strips. And then I carefully attach them to the armor piece after, of course, the glue had dried. And this already makes such a great difference between a really boring armor piece and something a little bit more detailed. So I keep adding more lines until I like the look. For this one, I just add lines all around the edge. And then it looks like this. Armor piece with a decorative line on the edge. Then, to actually get the shapes more round and more neat, I take it to the sanding table. And I use my rotary tool that I also used for sanding of the blade in the last video. If you didn't see that, then check out that video. I will link it and try to make a card here in the corner, so you can also check out that video. And first I use a sanding tip on the rotary tool that's very rough to really carve away a lot of the material, and after that I use a sanding tip that's a little bit more fine, and then you can actually make it really smooth. So that's the order that I use it in. And if you want to use a tool like this as well, I can actually link some in the comments so you can find them, because this one I bought locally, but I will also add an Amazon link so you can buy it wherever you are. And the Amazon links, if you use them, they are affiliate links, so I make a little tiny bit of commission for each time you buy something on Amazon through my links. but it doesn't cost you anything extra, so it just helps me to make more videos and make more tutorials, so I would be very grateful if you did, but of course you don't have to at all. I am just thankful that you're watching my video. Anyway, yes, I want to say thank you for watching my video. And after the sanding is done, it's time to add some details. I love details, you knew that by now probably. So I just make a pattern for the details that I want to add, and then I use it on the armor piece and just trace it with a ballpoint, so I know exactly where I want my details. If I would make these pieces with Worbla, I would sculpt it with Worbla, but now I wanted to make it fully out of foam. So what I'm using now is foam clay. You can actually get this clay in a lot of cosplay shops, there's many who sell it, and it's also available in different colors. I'm using the foam clay from the cosplay shop Mink from the Netherlands, and I just add a little bit of water to the clay so it gets a little bit more soft and more sticky, and then I sculpt all these details and put them on the armor piece. Of course I will put a link so you can find the clay. Then I wanted to add some really cute details to the boots armor. And to make these really nicely shaped, I actually did a trick. So on the back of the little leaves, let's call them leaves, I cut away a little ridge of foam, like you can see here. And I did this with all of the leaves. And when I then close this, on the other side you can see a really nice sharp ridge forming. And then I just put glue, contact glue again, into all the ridges, waited for the glue to dry, and then pressed them closed. And as you can see now, on the other side it looks really nice. So I just repeat this for all the leaves, or wings, or feathers, however you want to call them. What do they look like to you? I think they're leaves, but maybe you think they are feathers. Let me know. This is funny. So I just keep doing this and keep gluing it. And for the glue actually, did you ever use contact glue? Because for me it's the best glue for foam. It just adheres so well, much better in my opinion than hot glue, for example. And it also stays better because hot glue, of course, if it gets hot, it can come loose, but this just doesn't. It's magic. And this is how the details look. Now we want to add them to the armor piece. So these details are meant for the leg armor. So first I drew a line where I wanted them on the armor piece and then added some glue to that, contact glue again, and then I just press the details on there carefully. And I keep doing this until I added on all of the pieces. As you can see, I start on the top with the big ones and I end on the bottom with the small ones. The patterns for this are also in that pattern pack that I told about earlier, so you don't have to make your own patterns for these shapes. And to spice up the armor parts a little bit more, I wanted to add some gems. The gems I actually sculpted with Worbla's crystal art. I will link a video where I will tell you about how you can use that material. And for the rims of the gems, I used some Worbla's red arts, flame red art actually. That's the red Worbla, and the red Worbla is actually flame retardant, so that means that you can use it in theater and like acts where you have to work with fire and stuff, because it's a little bit better suitable against fire. And then I just heated up as you would do with other Worbla, and I just sculpted it around the gems. And because it's red, I didn't have to paint it anymore. It was finished. Then I just shaped them over the armor piece and waited for it to cool down so it's hard, and after that I glued it on with some super glue. And then all the armor pieces were finished, and this is how they look like unpainted. First I primed them with some spray primer for foam, and then I actually sprayed some brown acrylic paint on them for the base color, and then I used PBU gilding wax for the gold color. And then to add the final detail, I added some shading with some black oil paint. Oil paint is really nice for shading because it dries really slow, especially in my climate, really slow. So you have a lot of time to actually blend it out, a little bit like you do with makeup. But because the oil paint dries so slow, I actually later use some spray varnish to make it dry. And it does not only that, the spray varnish also makes the whole armor look really glossy and really metallic. I really love that. Armor piece looks like this. So fully painted and shaded and ready to go. And here you can see the armor piece also fully painted and shaded. And the difference between shaded and unshaded. As you can see, the one on the left is not shaded and the one on the right is. It makes a huge difference. And after you made the pieces of armor, of course, you want to attach them to your body. So, because these pieces are really lightweight, because they're made with foam, I could do this with Velcro. So here on the inside of this leg piece are 2 pieces of Velcro that I actually glued on with some hot glue. A little bit of hot glue underneath and also around the Velcro. So it is really, really firmly attached. And then to actually attach it to my leg, I sewed this golden sock thing. And of course it has the other parts of the Velcro on it. So you just put it on your leg and then stick the armor to it. And then you can wear it like this. And it just stays on your leg and doesn't go anywhere. It's really, really easy. And of course you can put the sleeves in the washing machine, because it's just fabric, so it's safe. And for the armor piece, for the arm, it's the same. I made this sleeve and then I just make sure it's right and then put this on top and the armor piece is attached. So yeah, now you can go with the armor piece. And then of course there is the last piece. Wait, let me get this up. That's for the foot armor. I used these shoes to base it on, like you could see in the tutorial. And then I made this thing that looks a little bit like dog armor. And I just put it on the shoe. Like this. Like so. Then this thing is on the shoe, like you can see. And of course, on the inside of the shoe armor, I also put some Velcro. So I will just put it on the corresponding Velcro pieces. And there you go. The armor is attached to the shoe. And for the headpiece, it's really simple. Blah. My hair goes everywhere, of course. Of course, this happens. On the headpiece, I actually glued some of these plastic combs for the hair. I just glued them on with hot glue. And then on the back, I attached a strap. I can actually also open this with Velcro, but actually you don't need it. So I could just make a strap that was closed, because I never opened it anyway. And that attaches to the inside with some metal D-rings that I attached with some foam. And then I just put it on my head, check the mirror if it's if it's a little bit symmetrical, and then it will stay there. Yeah. So that's how I made the armor for my She-Ra cosplay, and I really hope that you liked watching how I did it, and maybe it will inspire you to make one for yourself as well. So are you tempted? Let me know in the comments if you want to make a She-Ra cosplay as well. And also let me know if you want to make someone else from the series. Because the characters are just so cool. I love them. So now be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss my other videos. And if you didn't see the video yet about how I made the sword for She-Ra, then be sure to watch this video that I will somewhere put here in a card and also in the description below, so you can complete your whole costume. Yeah, it's so cool. I love She-Ra. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!